Who doesn't love cash?
I know, who doesn't love cash? Everyone loves cash. All right, what about what about stores? This is actually kind of a tricky idea going on, or a little policy here. If the memory location is in the cache, all right, send it to the cache. But should it also be sent? Should it be sent to memory right away, or should we wait to write that value back to memory later? So a write through is once the cache receives a write, go ahead and send it through. Write back is you wait until we kick the block out and then write it to memory. So you're delaying when you're writing. Also, the other question is if it's not in the cache and you have a store, do we put it in the cache? That's a write allocate policy. Or do we write directly to memory without allocation, the no write allocate policy? Well, which one's best? Well, the first one, generally write back's used. The second one, it depends on the situation. But let's go take a look. Assume a write allocate policy, meaning that when you do a store, you are going to allocate to the cache. Hey, look, I have different memory values now. All right, load. Is that a hit or a miss?
Miss.
We bring in 0, move on to 7. Is that a hit or a miss?
Miss.
Okay, good. Also, this is write through. Store, is that a hit or a miss? It's a hit, but we're writing to it, so it writes to the 173 and writes to main memory. Now the trick here is you had to wait for main memory to come back since you were writing to it. We're going to store in a 5. Did I miss?
Is that
Yep.
right? Both
Sorry.
bytes out?
Okay, hold on.
Oh, good question.
What's it?
You're asking if it writes both of the
Both bytes?
blocks?
No, it only writes what you wrote to.
Just the one.
Yeah, just the one. Good question. Memory, that's a miss, so we're going to evict the least recently used. We just did a store to the previous one, so we're going to evict that guy. Write allocate. So what actually happened is first we brought in the 2 values, then we wrote the 29 in, and then wrote the 29 to main memory. And this last load, is that a hit or a miss? Yep, that's a miss. So we allocate that up there. Lots of misses, 1 hits. All right. Not too many memory operations, but this is just to give you an example. Okay.
So when you store the cache, you had to read it in if it was a miss. Or
Yes.
you could store it.
Yeah, that's the write allocate policy. How many memory references? Each miss reads a block, 2 bytes in this cache. Each store writes a block, total reads 8 bytes, total writes 20 bytes. But cache generally miss less than 20%, so this might not have been the best example. I just wanted to give you the idea of what's going on. Oh, good. Class problem 3. How many hits and misses result when the following code's executed? Assume a no write allocate policy. So if you write to the cache and it's a cache miss, it just goes to main memory and that's it. You don't allocate in the cache. So,
Miss.
first one's a miss. We need to start putting it over here. What, let's see, what's the tag?
It's going to be 0.
3 zeros. So the data is going to be
78.
78 and 29, and it's going to register 1. So what value goes to register 1? I'm just making sure you're
29.
29. All right. Which one's LRU?
The bottom.
Yeah. Perfect. Hit or miss?
Yes.
6 and 7.
6 and 7. You got it. Well, what's the tag?
Be 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 6.
Yeah. 1
whoops.
0.
110.
No.
No.
Excuse me. 0 1 1.
Oh, that's right. 4 bits.
Yeah, because that other bit is the offset.
Mm.
So now it's valid. Who's LRU now?
Top.
Top. All right.
Store.
Store. Is that a hit or a miss?
That's a hit.
Hit. R2. Oh, wait, we forgot to put the memory value right here. Ooh, who moved it? All right. Into 0, so we got 173, and of course 173. All right, great. Okay, store in memory 5, hit or miss?
So this is
and it's a no write allocate, so it just gets written straight to memory. We don't do anything here, although we forgot to update our least recently used up here, because LRU is now this guy because of that store. So register 1 gets written to memory 5. Register 1 is 29. And then this next one's a hit or a miss.
Yes.
That's a miss. And then it would load it all in and go from there. So, in general, you want to write allocate, because if you store to it, you're probably going to read something nearby, is usually what happens. Any questions on this example?
0, 1, 1.
This?
Yeah,
Well, what's 6?
it's a good question.
Right? That's your offset.
Okay.
That's your tag.
Cool.
So you ended up reading it into register 1 at the beginning and then storing it out, but it gets out of the cache, but it's still in the register.
Yeah, the register is part of the process.
Yeah. But you write it out the register because actually location 0 changed, but not 1. All right.
Just trying to give you examples of how the cache behaves.
The cache does what it wants.
Yeah.
It keeps those two locations together, no matter.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's part of the cache line.
Right. All right.
Write through versus write back. We can also design a cache to not write all stores to memory immediately. I didn't know that was a question. We can keep the most current copy in cache and update the memory when it's evicted from the cache. So we need to have a dirty bit.
Gross.
So we're going to add a dirty bit to our cache, and we're going to go through this example with a write back policy. So we're going to load. Is that hit or miss?
Definitely a hit.
Thanks, Matt. All right, it's a miss. LRU is now the second one. Is that one a miss?
Yep.
Yep. All right, the store. Is the store going to be a hit?
Sure.
Sure, it'll be a hit. Notice we wrote just to the data. We are not writing back to main memory, so the main memory bus is not being utilized, which means our write is actually a lot faster right now. Ha, nice. Store the 5. Is that a hit or a miss?
Sadness.
It's a, yeah, miss. Who's getting evicted?
I'm going with the top one. No, the bottom one.
Why
That's
is the
what
bottom
those
one?
letters mean.
Yeah, LRU.
Yeah.
Right, so he's getting evicted. Bring it in. Then we're going to load 10. Is that hit or a miss? Who's getting evicted?
Top.
Top one. So only in this situation do you actually write it back out and then read and then service it. Y'all see what happened there?
Mm-hmm.
So that clears the dirty bit.
And that, of course,
Write it out.
clears the dirty bit. Correct.
So it's only dirty if you write to it.
Correct. Because it needs to be written back to the main memory, is all it's really trying to tell you. So each miss is 2 bytes, each evicted. Dirty line writes a block, total reads 4, total writes 4 after eviction. Do you choose write back or write through? Actually, that's a good question. Which do you use?
Back.
Right back's probably going to be the most economical.
Yeah, you can help. For single-threaded processors, write back in general is better overall because you're delaying when you need to write it back. Multi-threaded, we'll get to that. It has to do with Snoopy caches. The problem is sometimes another processor needs that information as soon as possible, which is why a write-through policy would be better. But for the most part, write back ends up being a better policy for caches, especially single-threaded caching. All right. So associativity, before I really get into this, let's go ahead and look at our 32. So we have a 32-bit address. All right, and what is our problem? Well, you have your valid bit, and now we have a dirty bit. And then we're gonna have some bits for our tag. And then for our original one, we had one block. If you only had one block, what is the size of the tag for this cache line? 32 bits, yeah, you got it. And then we were just doing the example where you have a valid, dirty bit, some tag size, and let's say that there's 2 blocks, and if there's 2 blocks, how many bits does it need to be? 31? What'd you say?
That's a 64.
No, just 31. Because if you go back to our caches, keep the remember out here when you have an extra block that chops off a bit from the tag that you don't need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spiffy.
So I guess I'll leave this up here so that'll help. So this would be 31 bits. Now let's do something a little more lifelike. Remember I said that there could be 128 bytes?
Sure.
So, yeah, 128 blocks. Now be careful here. In binary, that's what? 2 to the 5th? So then how many bits would we need here?
28.
27 is what I came up with, right? There's 27 plus, wait, hold on. I'm sorry, this is 2 to the, should have caught me on this one.
Yeah,
This is 2
I
to
was
the 7th.
questioning that.
2 to the 7th, I'm sorry.
It's like, that's like 32.
Yeah, 2 to the 7th is 128, so how many bits would we need here?
25?
25.
That was really odd. Arithmetic.
Okay. All right. So 25 bits, you have a 220 block, because that would be the first part of the address, and then you jump over the number of for your block offset. All right. What? Okay, fully associative. So far, we have done fully associative caches. Any memory location can be occupied in any cache line. Now, the point of me writing this out is that your tag lookups are still big. That's still an issue. We want to make that a little smaller somehow. So we're going to have to come up with a couple extra tricks to figure this out. We have to check every cache tag to determine whether the data is in there. This approach can be too slow. Parallel tag searches are slow. Why is that? Well, if you designed out the circuit, it gets really wide with many gates you have to go through. A direct map. We can redesign the cache to eliminate the requirements for parallel lookups. Direct map partition memory into many regions where there are cache lines, and each region has a single cache line it maps to. You then only need to check a single tag, the one associated with, to load it in. Okay. So, this is how it's going to work. Up here we had a 4-bit address because we had from 0 to 16. You had 1 bit for the block address. We're now going to have 4 cache lines, and you'll have the set index of this address right here. That'll tell you which of these sets you're allowed to look in, and then the tag bit is just to tell you if it's in there or not. Let's go ahead and do the example. I think it's going to make it a little more. LRU now makes absolutely no sense, and hopefully this will make sense in a bit. But let's go ahead and start with the load. I'll give an example here. The load of 1, is that a hit or a miss?
Miss.
It's a miss. Which one is it loaded into? It's loaded in the top one. Notice over here in memory we've partitioned it out. You have these two can only go, the orange can only go to the orange, the blue can only go to the blue. All right. So we're going to load the 5. Is that a hit or a miss?
Miss.
Miss. Where is it loading into?
The top one?
The top one. Why is it loading into the top one?
Because they're both orange.
Because they're both orange? All right. Because we're using a direct map cache, which means every memory location can only go to one cache line. And we have decided in this situation that your address is going to be 4 bits. So in this one with 5, it was, what do we have? What is 5? It is 0. Wow, 0. Yeah. Whew, that was rough. That was rough.
Ooh.
Okay. So 0, 1, 0, 1. This is the offset, right? And we are going to, then this is the set, the 0, which points to this one up here, and this is going to be 1. So since that's a 0, it's only going to go to the top one. Y'all see how that happened from the address? No?
So is the new tag going to be 0, 1?
Yes.
Okay.
But you see how I went from 5 is representing 0, 1, 0, 1, right? That one's the offset, so obviously that block. This is the set index.
Okay.
0 set 0 set 1. So this is saying you can only go to this first set, and then this is your tag 01. So it's only going to go. It's a miss, and it's going to go to that first tag. Are we good? Following? I know you checked out real quick, but the idea is that we're going to add a direct map such that you have the beginning of your tag, you have your block offset. In the middle is going to be a set. This bit for now inside the address is going to tell you which set to go into.
Okay.
We're going to do another example soon, because now we're going to do a store into memory reference 2. Is that a hit or a miss? It is a miss. Oh no, wait. It's a hit. Yeah, it's a miss. I'm sorry, it's a miss, but who's going to get evicted or used? The blue, right? Because the address for 2 is 0010. That's the block offset. That's the set, which is this guy right here. So those two bring in, we're assuming right allocated, so yeah, the 120, 123 came in over here. We'll probably use direct or write back, so we don't write it back to memory yet. All right. 7. Is that a hit or a miss?
Miss.
Miss. Who's getting evicted?
The blue.
The blue. And just make sure. 0 is 111. Block offset. That's the set. And then this will be the tag. Write back. Read it back in. And yeah, we're going to store it. And now we're going to load the 4. Is that a hit or a miss?
Hit.
It's a hit. You got 0100, block offset, set associativity, sorry. That's already in there. So we got it. Alright. Y'all seeing how this goes?
Yep.
Good.
0s and 1s.
Oh, it's all the way down. Okay. Now, let's see if we can do this. Show the breakdown of the following. So it's a 32-bit address. It's a 16 kilobyte cache. Direct map, 32-byte blocks. All right. Show the breakdown of this. All right, first off, the easiest thing to do when it tells you how many blocks it is, how many bits are in the block offset?
32.
Well, okay, it's 32-bit address, so the whole thing has to be 32. This is your memory reference. This whole thing needs to be 32.
That comes from the blocky thing.
That comes from your address.
Oh.
Your address is 32-bit. This is your address. It's broken down into these 3 chunks. So you have 32 bits in total. You need to come up with this. All right, first off, I usually like to start with block offset. How many bits are going to be in the block offset? 5. Right. Good. Now, it's a direct mapped cache. 32.
Yeah, we're going to.
Huh?
Huh?
We're not gonna die. So it's 16K divided by 32.
How going through some about to work. Let's go with my spam.
All right, what's 16K? It's easier if you use base 2 system here. Isn't that is that 14? To the 14, right?
Yeah.
Divide by 2 to the, what's that one, 5th?
Yeah.
What does that equal? 2 to the 9. So how many bits are in your set?
2 to the 9.
Or, not 2 to the 9 bits, but
9.
9. Another way to think of this, you have a 16 kilobyte cache. You can then access a 16 kilobyte cache. So your access here is going to be 14 bits. So obviously what's left over after 5 and 9, after 14 minus 5 is 9.
Mm-hmm.
Then what's your tag have to be?
The remainder.
Which is 18.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Everyone got it?
Mm-hmm.
Is everyone just, I know, anyone besides Matt? How's it going? Goes?
Looking at zeros.
Oh, okay.
Zeros and ones, I mean.
I saved a screenshot of it for later
Nice.
when it views its ugly head.
All right. We're doing right allocate and right back. Ooh, what's the block offset now? How many bytes are in the block offset? How many bits, sorry.
Which one's the block offset again?
That's how many blocks there are. How many blocks are there per cache line? 4. So how many bits is that going to be? You have 4 blocks, so to represent 0 to 3 essentially is 2 bits. So your block, so now your address, your block offset is 2 bits. And then your set, is this direct map? Yeah, so this is going to be direct map. You have 2 cache lines, so you have one bit for your set, and then 1 bit for your tag, because your memory is from 0 to 15. All right, everyone, hopefully you see how it's going.
This has nothing to do with the last problem, right?
It's one of y'all, right?
No.
No.
Yeah, great. All right, memory 3, is that hit or a miss?
Miss.
Miss. Okay, where's it going?
Somewhere over
It's
there.
going somewhere. Let's write it out in binary.
0, 1, 2, 3. It should be in the first one, shouldn't it?
0, 0, 1, 1. Yeah, so it should be in the first one, because the set, this is your set, and now this is your block offset, because there's 4 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're pulling in the 78, 29, 120, 123. What's the tag?
1, 1.
No, that's your offset. Your tag is 0.
Uh,
And then that's the 123, and that's going to register 1. Okay.
gross.
All right.
The last one for the next one.
Why is it going? Yeah. So let's go look at 12. What is that? 8. That's 12. That's your block offset. That's your set, and then that's your tag. So since your set is 1, it's going to this one. Your tag is 1, and it's going to bring you in those bottom numbers: 19, 200, 2. Whoa, that was bad. 10, 2, 2, 5. And then R2 is what? 19. Okay, someone besides Matt.
This is it.
It's a hit. Yeah. So the last value is going to have R2, which is 19. Oh, it's outside. The dirty bit is now 1 because we wrote to it. And that's where we are. All right, we're storing 4.
It's
Low.
also a hit.
It's also a hit. Wait a minute.
Wait, no, it's not. I'm sorry.
That's
No, it
one
should-
off.
Yeah, because it's 0, 0, 1, 0, 0. Who's getting evicted?
The top.
Your offset's the 2 zeros. Your set is 1.
Oh, okay, so the bottom one.
Yeah, the bottom one's getting evicted. It's right back, so that 19 is then written over 225. The tag is now 0. The dirty bit's going to be cleared. And then we have, what are we bringing in? 4. So 71, 150,
62.
62, and 173. All right. So that's a miss. What about this last one?
It's also.
Yeah, so that's 1, 0, 0, 1. That's your block offset. That's your set. That's your tag. It doesn't match that tag, so you have to load it in. All right, how you doing?
Which one's the tag again?
The very first
What's the
section.
second one again?
That's the set that you're going to.
And then the last one's the offset.
Offset.
So the first one tells you the tag.
Yeah, that's the tag. The second one's which set you are, or which cache line. In this case, because we haven't done set associativity, which we're about ready to do.
Tag set offset.
All right. How's that? How we doing?
You lost me on the store R1 into memory location 4.
Okay.
All right, you
All right, let's,
pull 4 into the cache.
So 4 in binary is 0, 1, 0, 0, right, in base 2?
Right.
All right, the last 2 bits are your block offset because we have 4 blocks, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The 1 bit before that is your set because we only have 2 sets. So you have set 0 and set 1. And then that's your tag. Since the set is 1, it has to go in here. At that time, I think it was the 15 that was loaded in. So we had to evict that and then bring in those four blocks, 4, 5, 6, and 7 into the cache. And then we could, actually I didn't write that out where we wrote
That's-
R1.
Okay, so you actually stored it into the cache,
Yeah, I didn't write that out.
and
Sorry about
then
that.
you hit the dirty bit when you do that, right?
Yeah, I need to turn on the dirty bit. There we go.
Okay. That helps.
Good catch. How you doing, Matt?
Wow.
All right. Split the difference. So hopefully you can see the problem with direct map is it's not really utilizing the cache too much, but on the flip side, it really helps with decreasing our tag bits, which is something that's very advantageous. So we have something called set associativity, which you kind of do a hybrid between the two. So set associative partition memory into regions like a direct map, but with fewer partitions, and associate a region with a set of cache lines. So you might have 4 cache lines that can associate with one, and then another 4 that can associate with another. Treat each line like a fully associative cache. All right, let's go into this example. So you're going to have 2 sets. In this case, notice that each set has 2 cache lines. So each set may have multiple cache lines, and then each cache line has its own blocks offset. So you have your set index to go in there, and then you have, again, your tag to look into it. All right, let's do the example. Oh, if you look up in the book, it looks like this. Notice all the book did was take this and move it up here.
It's well advanced.
Yeah. That's all. I think it's easier to understand when you write it out this way. All right. Load for 1, hit or miss? Miss, all right. Notice that the LRU of the top set is now the other line.
Spiffy.
Spiffy, okay. 5, hit or miss?
Miss.
Miss. Where's it going?
And the second one.
Second.
Second cache line, you got it. 7, is that a hit or a miss?
First blue one miss.
Yeah, there you go. 4, hit or miss?
Hit.
Hit, it's a hit. Who's going to be the new LRU? Or is there no LRU change?
No change.
No change. That's a store, we're doing the right back, so we turned on the dirty bit, we're fine. Memory 0, is that a hit or a miss?
Good.
Hit. So, yeah, it's a hit.
It's a hit.
It is a hit, but the LRU didn't change. Oh, there it is, okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're loading in the 8, is that a hit or a miss?
Miss.
Wait, is that a miss? Yeah, it's a miss. So we got to evict it, and then bring in the 8.
Copy.
All right. Now see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I hate it like this with the words.
You hate words, don't you?
I like the diagrams. They're
All right. Okay. 32-bit address. So that means this whole thing, 32 bits. You okay, Matt?
mm-hmm.
All right. We have the block offset. You have the set, and you have the tag. All right. What do you know?
So 32's to the 5. 16's to be the same, right? To the, what was it, 14?
Yeah, 2 to 4. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I always start here. This is the easiest one. Your block is 64 byte. So what's your block offset?
6.
Yeah. It's 6. So we got that one. Let me try that 6 again.
C.
Okay, good. Okay, here's where it gets a little tricky. 4-way set associative.
Does that mean there's 4 sets?
Right. So you notice back here, this was 1-way. Yeah, that was 1-way.
Wait, why?
I mean 2-way. This is 2-way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. 2-way. Whew, that's bad. 2-way set associative. So now you're going to have 4 cache lines. Or 4-way set associative.
So you need stuff.
Yeah. 14 divided by what? 2 to the 6th. That would equal
2 to the 8.
2 to the 8th.
256.
But for 4-way set associative, which means that 2 of these bits are basically in the tag instead. So instead of taking, I don't know where that number came from. So instead of being 8 bits in the set, it's only going to be 6 bits. I am on a bad writing day.
So you divide it by 2 of the 2.
It's 4-way set associative.
So you divide it by 2 to 2.
So it was 8. Yeah, exactly. You got to divide it by here now. So that's your 6 bits. What's left?
A number 20.
Yeah. All right, doing? How we doing? Okay. All right.
Another one.
Yeah.
Fully associative.
That means they're.
It doesn't exist. So
When you say fully associative,
bottom first. 64.
yeah, there's no So it's 6 bits. This one's easy. Maybe 28? No, 26.
Ooh, that was pretty egregious.
Okay.
Can you go back just for a second?
Oh, I'm sorry. I went fast.
It's fully associative, so there's just no.
It's just like the beginning.
So it's, okay.
There's no set. All right, two-way set associative. No right allocate or right back. Oh, I was right. The previous one was one-way set associative. Thanks, Matt. This is two-way set associative.
What's the difference?
Well, let's do this one.
Go back to the other one for a second.
Oh, okay. No, this was two-way. You're right.
Oh.
Oh, ouch. Okay. Let's load from memory 11.
Hit, miss. Starting strong.
Wow. All right. Who's being loaded? Well, let's look at the address. 8. We don't need a 4. And there we go. Okay. So the block off. What's the block offset? It's just this one. It's two-way set associative. So that means that
The next two.
next 1 bit, because it's just 2 to the first, to the 1. So it's going to be down here with these 4 guys, and we'll fill in that one 01, and we're bringing in, what do we bring in? 33 and okay, 33 and 28.
How come these ones aren't colored?
Because they're to make you think about what's actually happening as opposed to be using colors, man. All right, memory 2, is that a hit or a miss? Actually,
Miss.
this is an LRU now. We gotta write that down. Miss.
So it's still divide halfway through the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's two-way. So that's 8, 12, 0, 0. Set is 0, so it's going to be up here. Tag is going to be 1. We're bringing, 12 and 13, so we got 19 and 200.
What?
Is it?
For 2?
Oh, 2. I'm sorry. I saw 12. So this is 0, 0, 1, 0. There's the block offset. That's the set. So the set is going to be here. Which line gets evicted? Well, the bottom one, because it's the least recently used. We're on 2. So the tag is 0, 0. And it's 120 and 123. Who's LRU now?
The top.
The top of the bottom set. LRU. All right, so now we're going to store. Is that a hit or a miss?
Miss.
Miss. We're doing a no right allocate. Oh, okay. So it just goes straight there and we're done. Hey, we haven't been storing these values. What's 11?
28.
28.
120.
120? Yeah, okay.
Sure.
Then we're going to write to memory 3 the value of 28. Sure. No right allocate. Right back. Okay. So, oops, that was that one. So now 3. 0, 0, 1, 1. That's the block offset. The set is 1. Do we have 0, 0 in here? Yes, we do. Which one is it? It's that one, because that's block offset. And we're going to replace it with what's in register 1, which is 28.
Which one was that?
We're on this guy.
That's
a hit. 'Cause-
Okay.
Yeah, we got that one right there.
Where'd the 28 come from, though? Oh, never mind. Yeah, ignore me.
Not a problem. All right, now we're going to load from memory location 7. So 7 is 0, 1, 1, 1. That's block offset. Set associated is that guy. 0, 1's a tag. Is that one of these two guys? Nope. So who's getting evicted?
The top.
The top one. He is not dirty, so we don't have to write him back. And we're bringing what, 7 and 8, so 173 and 18. All right. Now who's LRU?
Bottom.
Of course, I miss. All right. Now we do memory 10. I'll write that out. 8. Now we're going to do 4, 1, 0. There's the block offset. There's the set. I didn't write that down. Whoops. What was 7? It was 0, 1, right? Yeah, 0, 1. Is 1, 0 in these two lines?
No.
Nope. So we got to evict. Who are we evicting?
Bottom.
Bottom. Do we have to write that information to the main memory?
Yes.
Yes, because the dirty bit's on. So he is, wow. So he's 0, 0, 1, 0. So that's 2. So he's going up here. Wait, is that right? Something's not right here. Yeah, I guess, no, that's right. Oh, no, because we write it back in. That makes sense. All right, so we put the 120 up here. We put the 28, even though it's already down here. Because what happened was is we loaded it in, and then we wrote to it. Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
When you did store to 12, I accidentally did 2 instead of 12. My bad. Now that makes some sense. So now that that's been evicted, you can put this back in here. The tag becomes 1, 0. It's no longer dirty. And we're loading from 10, which is 33 and 28.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't 10, memory 10, 33, and then of course the 28 right after it? And that was a miss. All right, any questions?
So every one of those memory locations had a tag of 1. Not a tag, but a
Yeah,
set
a set of 1.
So set 0 stayed
Never got touched.
the whole time.
Yep.
Doesn't seem like that's a good performance.
It's not good cache utilization, but the point of it is it makes your tag lookups faster because your comparison with the tags is far simpler. Because you only had to have 2 bits in your tag as opposed to 3, which is a significant performance boost right there. So I'm trying to point out there's a lot of trade-offs here. There's no like one cache design that rules them all. So. Huh. Any other questions? All right. Okay. What causes a cache miss? There's basically 3 different ways, or 3 ways we look at cache misses. The 3 C's. We have the cache is too small to hold all the data. You have an array of 1024, but your cache only holds 256. Your cache is too small. You reduce misses there by building a bigger cache. All right, that's capacity. Make sense? The first reference is an address. That's a compulsory miss. So the first time you reference an address, you miss it. You reduce this by increasing the block size. Why would that reduce your compulsory misses?
It would for the first one, but the ones after you'd have more.
Yeah, there you go. So the ones after you have a higher chance of referencing. Replaced it from a busy set. This is a conflict miss. So you had a set, remember in the previous example, only set 1 was being used.
Mm-hmm.
We're having a conflict miss where you're constantly being in conflict over a cache line, and they're going, maybe your loads are going back and forth who's being evicted. Reduced by increasing the associativity, so making it more and more fully associative so you can take advantage of more cache lines. Would have hit with a fully associative cache. What that's trying to say is if you remember back here, we were only operating on the bottom 2, If it was a fully associative cache, some of these lines that got evicted down here would not, because you've been fully associative, and there would have been more hits. And that's an example of a conflict miss. The way to resolve that is to try and make it more fully associative in order to get more hits. Of course,
Add
there's
more lines
more
that are available, right?
right, but the
cache
more
lines are available.
more lines is a bigger cache, so that's capacity. The compulsory is the number of blocks, and then capacity is not capacity. Conflict is trying to make it more fully associative. Yeah. All right. All right. We're going to go into a couple other things.